in terms of how we deal with people. So when I chose to teach this particular topic, I thought it would be a good topic because everything you do with a client, a customer, working with your fellow agents, all has to do with your attitude and how you treat your fellow agents, your brokers, the people around you, and even in your office. So what's the definition of attitude? It's a little thing that makes a big difference. So they define it in psychology as a construct, a mental and emotional entity that inheres in or characterizes a person. They are complex and are an acquired state through experience. So sometimes we're unaware of how we react to things, and it could be a result of something that affected us growing up or a relationship of some sort. So, of course, we want to work with people who have better attitudes. I know I don't like working with people who have bad attitudes. I'd rather walk away. So attitude, it's comprised of a mindset. It's your viewpoint, your beliefs, etc. The elements to the person you are. So your skill in facing the challenges in life is often shaped by your attitude. I know that sometimes we are quick to make a comment or something because we're not in a good mood, and we respond in a different way. Bear in mind, in real estate, it's relationship based. So we have to be cognizant of our actions and how we work with people. We're not perfect, and as we go through this process, we're going to take a journey through it's all about you. And are you drawing people towards you, or are you moving people against you? So if you're doing real estate, what you want to do is draw people towards you instead of repelling them. And of course, this process will kind of help you recognize how you react and what do you do when you're triggered. So attitude can be defined as a response to people, places, things, or even events in life. It can be referred to as your viewpoint, your mindset, and your belief. And it's determined by the choices we make. So I know that sometimes I get triggered. So when someone makes a comment, and as an example, sometimes John, my husband, will ask me a question, or he'll make a comment, and then I would turn and I said, or he'd ask a question, and it's really innocent, but he would say, I would respond saying, what, don't you think I know what I'm doing? Or do you think I'm not knowledgeable in that area? And I just get triggered. And part of it probably is growing up, where you have a strident mother who's always telling you what to do and when to do it, that sometimes part of that gets triggered. So if we're conscious of it, then you can make the change. But I think it's a self-realization as we move along in life. People come before us to always teach us. We're always learning. And in real estate, boy, I tell you, we learn so much through working with real estate. So what are the types of attitude? It is cognitive, behavioral, and emotional. So the cognitive attitude is based on knowledge. When you're knowledgeable, you're educated, you feel very comfortable in, like in real estate. If you learn about one particular topic, you can talk to a client or a customer and feel confident that you know the material. That's your cognitive, and you're positive about it because you know about it. But it's based on knowledge. Now the other, and it makes you feel very confident. The emotional attitude deals with giving out emotional stimuli. If you overact to certain things, I guess when I think of overreacting, sometimes a comment will be made, or and you get really emotional about it, or you're brought to tears. That's the emotional side. and we should always stay calm and balanced. I know when I get triggered, I start to snap, you know, where I make a comment. And I know sometimes when I make comments, when I get a call, just bear in mind, guys, in real estate, you got to bear in mind, even when you get a call from a fellow agent, sometimes they're asking you a question and you can't just snap at it. And I've had times where I make a comment and it's not intentional, but then I call the person and I apologize and say, hey, that's not what I meant. And I apologize. You know, I clean it up. You always have to clean up if you make a comment that may have been unintentional or may have made someone else feel bad. So your behavioral attitude component takes care of the way you react to certain things. So again, whenever I do something, I always try to clean it up because I don't want that thing following me around. Plus, I want to maintain a relationship. Now, it's not that easy when you're dealing with difficult clients and customers, but remember, you always have to carry that relationship forward, and it makes a big difference if you're cognizant of your actions and how you deal with it. And that's why I feel like this section is important. It's about you. This process is about the journey inside, because guess what? Success is there. You just have to tap into it. And it's how you deal with things on a daily basis. So it reflects your attitude and the way we act or we behave. Now, the question is, how is your attitude? How would you describe your attitude? Are you a positive person? Are you negative? Or are you neutral? Now, I know we have a tendency, one day I could be positive, and then somebody triggers me, and then I could be negative just in a few seconds. I'm not normally neutral. I don't have a tendency to be neutral because I'm so opinionated. And I'm sure many of you are, especially in this line of work. So a positive attitude is our confidence. I'm an optimist. Are you sincere and reliable in the traits that represent positive? Now think about it. Some of us are in big offices. Some of us are in smaller offices. You're surrounded by people with different opinions and different attitudes. And you could probably start thinking now, who in my team is always positive? And, you know, which attitude do they fit under? So individuals who have a positive attitude pay attention to the good. Bear in mind, they pay attention to the good rather than the bad in people and situations. They consider mistakes or a failure as a hurdle, but an opportunity to learn from. We're all learning. Every day is a learning process. Sometimes people get thrown in front of us because there's a lesson to be learned in that process for whatever the situation may be. So attributes of positivity: confidence, optimism, sincerity, flexibility, determination, reliability. Okay, so far, how many of you have this attribute of positivity? Cheerfulness and happiness, tolerance, willingness to adapt, sense of responsibility, humility, that's a good one. We all have to be humble, and very diligent. Winston Churchill had said, attitude is that little thing that makes a big difference. So I put together some of these quotes. For success, attitude is equally as important as ability. So you might have someone who's able to get the job done, but their attitude sucks. Do you want them around you? You know, some of these things that we're going over, What if you're hiring someone and you want the best able candidate for the position, and you found someone, but they're not team players, nor do they have the positive attitude? So again, this applies across the board. A bad attitude can literally block love, blessings, and destiny from finding you. Don't be the reason you don't succeed. Another one, an attitude of positive expectation is the mark of the superior personality. So let's go to negative attitude. Hatred, pessimism, resentment, and doubt. These are traits that represent a negative attitude. People with negative attitude ignore the good and pay attention to the bad in people, situations, events, etc. Also, they're complainers about changes rather than adapting to the changing environment. Speaking of a changing environment, we're totally in a changing environment. I mean, the rug got pulled from under us. I've got to say, though, that with Zoom, someone had said, I'm zooming everywhere. Well, we've been Zooming, and because of Zoom, we're able to draw more people to attend the courses and also to bring people together. It's unfortunate that we can't meet in a classroom or as a group. However, we're in a changing environment. Now, with people who are negative, they don't adapt well in this environment, and you're probably going to hear them complain even more so. So if you're one of those complainers, you might want to zip it a bit, because remember, do you want to attract or do you want to repel? So the negative side normally repels. And on the negative side, you're always blaming others for your failure. So do you want to be one of those that blame people for everything that goes wrong? Again, it's repelling. You're not bringing people towards you, you're repelling them. Now in real estate, think about it. If you're going out, let's say you go out to a store and you want to buy a TV set, and a salesperson comes out and there's two of them. There's one that wants to help. You ask them all sorts of questions. They're cheerful. Oh, can you check if you have this? And they run to the back and they're checking what's available, and they come back with a cheerful attitude, and they want to help you. They want to help you find the right product, versus someone that comes, they're grumpy. We all have gone there to the stores, and someone who's not helpful, someone that says, well, that's all we've got. And they're not even willing to make that extra effort to go to the back to see, is there anything left in stock to help you buy exactly what you want. Same thing with our line of work. If we're carrying that. Now, bear in mind, we send off signals, and we're going to cover that as we go along. There are things that we send off, and if we're not conscious of it, you could be pushing away that client or customer without your even knowing it. So again, this is about awareness. I just took a leadership workshop last week, and they said they took a survey of all these successful leaders out there, businessmen that are billionaires, millionaires. So it was a Dave Ramsey leadership summit. But in the survey they found, the most successful people were the ones that were aware. Self-awareness was the key to their success. I mean, that could be covered in another workshop, but they did this survey, and there were certain ways to get there. Towards the tail end, we're going to cover a few things to learn more about yourself and how it relates to others. But I'm going to cover a bit on awareness because it just hit me like, wow, if I became more self-aware about myself, then I could even be more successful. Now, I want to bring this up. Success is all within you. Each and every one of you are a success today. Look in the mirror. You're a successful agent. The key is inside. It's not outside. And that was the purpose of this course. I wanted to tap on that so that each and every one of you know you're a success already. It's just a question of how you apply it and how do you use the tools to draw people towards you in doing real estate. So attributes of negativity: anger, hatred, resentment, jealousy. Wow, that's a big one. Inferiority, pessimism, frustration, and doubt. I'm sure, again, we talked about, I usually, if there's someone with a negative attitude, I'd rather go the other direction. But what if my customer in front of me is negative? How do I turn that negativity around? How do I work with him so that I get him to see, let's say they're looking at a piece of property and I want them to see the bright side of what the property is offering. How do I work with that? So I guess this is a journey so we can all discover that. Peggy, am I okay? Can you still hear me?
Yes, you're
okay.
good.
Good, okay. So neutral, a neutral attitude: indifference, detachment, traits that represent a neutral attitude. People with neutral attitude don't give enough importance to situations or events. They ignore the problem and they leave it for someone else to solve. Now, is this a contributing individual within your team? Let's say you're in the office. Does this person contribute? Are they helping with teaching? Are they helping with the team effort? Are they helping with fundraising? Are they helping with your group? They're just complacent. So complacency, they're indifferent, they're detached, feeling of being disconnected, and they're unemotional. So how many of you fit that category where you don't want to be part of a team? Of course, we're all individualists. We sometimes don't want to join a group. Sometimes we don't want to work with people, and we act out of this state. Sometimes I think I do that if I'm not interested in a particular project or the discussion. Maybe I would go neutral. So, and I would leave it to the group to make the decision. But it's good to notice what the attributes are so that when you're with someone, I'm one of these people that I'm always trying to draw the best. I want to say, hey, come and join us. What's going on? Now, teenagers, of course, if you look at this, if you're talking to your teenager, come on, let's go. We're going to a party, or there's a matai, someone passed away and we need to go pay our respects. They always, it's like, I don't want to go, or I'm not interested. They'd rather be with their friends. So they normally would, express or display indifference and a detachment because they just don't want to be part of it. So behavior and attitude. So note that one's behavior might not always reflect one's attitude. However, studies have suggested that people might change their behavior if the inconsistencies between their beliefs and behavior are pointed out to them. In general, a positive attitude is more likely to have a good effect on one's behavior. So it's going to be tough to try to shift someone who's in the negative state. When they bring up beliefs and behavior, in our leadership class last week, they talked about, you could have a vision. I'm going to visualize, I'm going to be a millionaire. And you visualize that and you want to go there. But in the workshop, they were saying that you could visualize that. However, if your belief in your body and you're growing up, you believe in scarcity, that I don't deserve this, or I can't do that. I can't. Remember, people always say, well, I can't afford it. I don't have the money for it. If you keep embedding that, how can you get to the vision? So you're going to have to change your behavior and your attitude and your belief system about the scarcity to know that there's abundance. Sorry, I'm just kind of going off that. But again, your success is there, but your belief, you're going to have to do some shifting in order to get there. I guess the other thing I always tell our kids, when you want to make things happen, go for it. Your belief, it's like take the risk to make something happen. If you think I can't afford it, if you use those words, I can't, or I don't have it, you're reinforcing that within your system versus, you know, when we go on our trips, John would say, honey, that's going to be expensive. We can't. I would say, zip it. I'll make it happen. So again, it's a shift and a change. I would say, zip it. I'll make it happen. And I do that because I want that to happen. And my belief system is there's a mechanism. Somewhere down the road, we'll talk about intention mechanism. Anyway, another topic. So choices. We each make our choices. Now, you choose, you have a path to go down. You can choose to be negative, you can choose to be positive, or you can choose to be neutral. We're human beings, we have the aspect to change, but we're given the choice. And it could be made in a minute. It's just up to you. It's up to the individual to make the choices. So, reading facial expressions. The ability to understand is important. It's a nonverbal. Usually when I'm taking people around, when I'm the real estate, you know, I take them to different properties and I'm always trying to read. Can I read them? Which properties do they like? How are we relating to each other? And sometimes I feel like they're trying to read me. They're looking at me, trying to see, do I know what I'm talking about? Do I know my real estate stuff? So they're trying to read me and I'm trying to read them. So if you only listen to what a person says and ignore what that person's face is telling you, you only have half the story. And I really believe that. So when you're with your clients, customers, and even agents and brokers, you're always assessing the other party. And sometimes words do not match the emotion or what you're saying. Oh, I'm fine, but you can see they're not actually feeling it. I've done this before where I would meet people and then I would, you know, they said they're fine, but I could sense something was not quite right. And then later I would talk to them, you know, you said you were fine, but something didn't seem right. Are you okay? What's up? And then they would say, yeah, I was really worried about this, this, and this. So my sensing, I tell our agents when I teach here and in the Philippines, I tell them, trust your intuition. If you pick up, especially when I'm working with clients, sometimes they'll be sitting in front of me and we're writing up the contract, but from the facial expression, from the body language, something didn't add up or didn't seem right. So I would tell the client, or, you know, there's two of them, you gotta focus on both. You can't just focus on one unless they're the decision maker. But if the one isn't engaged or isn't sold, they will sabotage your deal. So this is pretty critical. Trust your sensing. And when I sense that, I would ask the question, you don't seem like you're excited about this, or is there something bothering you? Is there a question that was not answered? How can I help you? Because your objective as their agent is to bring them together. Because, you know, I always say this, if two parties are not in sync and moving forward, that deal is bound to fail. You have to make sure you get both of them in line and engaged, that they are both sold, that there are no obstacles in the way. When I get that feeling that something's not quite right, it usually ends up that I'm on the money. So again, trust your instincts, your nonverbal communication, because it all adds up, especially in our line of work. So universal emotions. So Dr. Paul Ekman tells us that there's a handful of universal expressions that cross the divides. Even blind people make the same faces to express the same universal expressions, like sadness, you know, where their mouth is drawn down. Watch somebody's eyebrows to get a handle of how they're feeling. Like, and here we always greet each other where our eyebrows kind of go up and down, right? And my dad is Filipino, so when I remember growing up, he would point, he would go, over there, the lips. So that's, again, that's cultural. Here on Guam, we do our eyebrows and we nod our heads like, hey, half a day, how are you? So your eyebrows definitely tell. So universal expressions, of course, disgust, there's contempt. I'm just gonna go around the circle, anger, and of course, happiness and joy. There's fear and there's sadness. So how are you in tune? Are you in tune enough to read the expressions? Let's see. So the first expression, feedback, what is that? And then the second, the third, and the fourth. I can't see, I'd like to just get some feedback. Let's go back here.
Liz, would you like to answer the first question?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I have a question here that says, how do you handle consistent negative people? Do you recommend you continue to try to show them the positive side or walk away? If so, at what point do you walk away?
Actually, what is it? Kill them with kindness. You know, you're gonna have to work with them. I know there are times when I've worked with people that are negative that my blood pressure shoots up. You can only do so much as long as you're conscious that it's about them. It's not about you. Sometimes when people react and are negative, you're wondering, are you triggering them? You might have been triggering them, but it's not you. It's their cross to carry. And when in real estate, sometimes, like Chris said yesterday, you have to walk away. Why do you want to continue to hit your head against the wall? If your client is continuously bombarding you and you've done as long as you've done your best and you move forward in a positive manner, you can't always help people that are constantly that way. Sometimes you can make some inroads to help them see another picture, but sometimes it's not worth it. It's not worth your energy. And I have a tendency to go the other direction when I'm dealing with negativity. But then there are times where, okay, what is the lesson here? What do I need to learn? Do I need to learn not to take this personally because it's not about me? Or is there a challenge here that I can make a difference for this person? Remember, we're each here to make a difference, not just for ourselves, but also to make contact with everyone and to try to make a difference that when you walk away, you've impressed upon. I truly believe that each and every one of us come in contact to help each other. whether the other party's negative. So what do I need to learn about that negativity? So again, there's a point where you're going to have to walk away. But after you know it's not about you and that you've done your best, period. Any other questions, Peg?
None right now, Liz.
Okay, so facial expression. So feedback. I want to, people, I'd like to see what do you get from the 4 faces. I'd like to see what people read. This is difficult because we can't talk to each other. It's a one-way street where I'm talking. So if you can just punch in what you're picking up, I'd like to get feedback from the 4 across the board. What's the first, what's the second, what's the third, and what's the 4th expression that you see? Are you getting anything, Peg?
Nothing right now. Okay, I have one. Nothing right now.
Okay, all right, the first one, of course, looks angry. Second one has this surprise look, taken by surprise. The third one, of course, is thinking about it. If you notice the eyebrows on the first one, it's drawn close together like, ah. And then the last expression, by the way, I got volunteers. So if you know any of them, you can say, hey, I saw you. And then the last one was like, there's some fear or like worried, a worried look. So here's another 2 expressions.
Liz, excuse me. I think if you can do a screen sharing, so that way others will be able to see the screen that you are referring to.
Oh, they can't see the screen?
Only your lovely face.
I've been going through the screens. They haven't been seeing the screens? Oh my goodness, hold on. How do I get out of here? Hold on. I thought that they could see my screen. I've been going through my presentation with okay, Peg, how, because share, do I do share? I have my screen up. Let me go down. Let me sign out and sign back in, Peg.
Or you can also send it to me.
The presentation?
Mm-hmm. And I can also help.
Oh, this is terrible. I thought all along they were seeing the screen and not me. Darn. And it's a great presentation too. Okay. Peg, let me just sign out and sign back in, okay? Sorry.
No problem. You can also send it to me while you're on. No problem. So if you send it to me by email, I can take care of it from here.
Technology. Okay, it's attaching, Peg.
Okay, I will wait.
Sorry, guys, I'm not a techie, so, and here I am thinking you were watching while I was going through this presentation. Okay, Peg, I'm sending it right now with no subject. Peg, you got it.
Refreshing.
Got it, Peg?
Yes, I got it, but let me try and prep for you, okay?
And then you can scroll to the, start from the beginning just so they could see what the transition was. So while Peggy's prepping that, I guess I'm going to make facial expressions. You can see my face, right? So if I'm disgusted, angry, I got to show an angry face. This is funny. And a happy face. How's it coming, Peg?
I need access to your. I need access to your file. I sent an email. Let me check another way, okay?
Oh, let me see. I'm in the panelist file, right? Share screen. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Share. Okay, you can see my screen now, right?
Yes, that's correct.
There you go. Okay, so sorry guys, here. See if this opens up.
Yes, it opens up. Perfect.
Okay, all right. So, sorry, this was the presentation. I'm just gonna click through it until we get to the point. Can everybody see?
Yes.
Man. behavior. Okay, so we're heading to the facial expressions. Okay, here we go. So I was asking the question about facial expressions. So here we have 4 different expressions. And I wanted some feedback about what your thoughts were about the facial expressions. What were they telling you? The first one appears to be angry and her eyebrows are drawn together. The second one has this shocked or, expression, so taken by surprise. The third one is she's contemplating, she's thinking about it. And the last one has a fearful look, anxiety. So again, these are people that volunteered. I wanted to get some facial expression, so it brings it home. It's something real. How do you like that facial expression? So it's like disgust on the left side. Again, facial expressions, these are things that we look for when we're working with people. We want to know, are we making impact? Are we coming across a certain way? So you're making a point with the person on the right. Am I right? And the person on your left, on the left side, it's like you're not getting anywhere with trying to sell her something. So look at the eyes. The first person here, there's piercing eyes like anger. She's going to jump at you, or she's trying to make a point. It's like your mother scolding you, her facial expression. And the middle one is like sad, ready to cry, upset. And of course, the last one seems happy, right? So practice making facial expressions that go along with your emotion so you can become better at recognizing them in people. And trust your instincts about what you pick up. So not all facial expressions stick around for a long time. Those that pass quickly are called micro expressions and are almost indiscernible to the casual observer. So you might be picking up these micro expressions if you get a feeling about someone. And this is what I talked about. Don't ignore your gut or your sensing, your intuition. The eyebrows say a lot about a person. We talked about the greeting here where we raise our eyebrows, and when you get angry, then you could see that it gets closer. So they could be raised and arched in surprise, or lowered and knit together in anger. So facial expressions could have looking lost, confused, unsure, perplexed, unclear, disoriented, or even bewildered. So you have to pay attention. Now, facets in real estate, there's pieces of a puzzle. So how does this all come together, and why is it important? Now, the information we're going through is about you as an individual and how you relate to your clients and your customers and even your fellow agents. And why is that important? How do you present yourselves to your clients and customers? When they look at you, just bear in mind, we're always assessing the other party, whether you know them or not. You're always kind of getting a feel. I know sometimes I get a feel where I want to go the other direction, but when you're working with people, you can't do that. I always trust my instincts when I'm working with a client or customer. Are they really interested? Are they savvy enough to make the decision? Or I just was working on something the other day, and they're so excited about this piece of property. They really wanted it, but I could sense that something was going to come up. And sure enough, they did their due diligence. They were not risk takers. They saw the possibility of this property, but were not risk takers enough to get over the obstacle. So I want to bring up one where I was working with one selling a house, and I asked the question, do you really want this home? And both husband and wife said, yes, we really like it. We want it. So I said, if you really want this home, if any obstacles come up, you can overcome any obstacle if you're true and you're in alignment with wanting this home. And I could sense they were on the money. I could feel that they really wanted it, that they would make anything happen to make this deal go forward. Well, yes, they had some obstacles. They had to sell their vehicle. They had to settle some loans. So they came to me saying, you know, we need to do so many things. So I just assured them, if you're very clear you want it, it'll happen. Just take one step at a time and keep overcoming each obstacle. Sure enough, they got that handled and they bought the home and they were so happy. So as agents, as brokers, we have to trust our own instincts about how can we help them? How can we help them move forward? How can we continue to assist them in that process? So how does your client perceive you, your presence? Are you confident? If you meet them and you don't shake their hands or you don't have eye contact, again, your facial expression, eye contact, if you're always looking away, that's a telltale sign that you're not comfortable. So you have to have your eye contact and be conscious that you have to stay focused in that moment, and your job is to help them. So, you know, their perception of you could mean, does this go any further? Now, you might have everything it takes. However, we do get customers that call. I always screen them so I don't waste my time going out there and they're not clear about what they want. Or if they're working with another agent, I would say, hey, if you're working with another agent, great. Pick one so that you're not wasting any time, because we're all showing the same properties. So let's just move this. So self-evaluation. I'd like to, what do you offer? What do you offer as an agent or a broker? Can you assist these people? Where is your confidence level? I kind of touched on that about, you know, your handshake, eye contact, your inventory of your skills and knowledge. You know, there's a saying, the more you learn, the more you earn. The fact that we have 119 people online, you all may have heard the saying, 20% of the agents are doing 80% of the business. So pat yourself on the back. You're part of that group. We have 500 something members, and we've got 119 participants right now online. Now, I'm always, well, it's just me. When I teach, whether I teach here or in the Philippines, my disappointment is when I attend, and sometimes the volume of attendance is so low. I'm wondering, where are they? Where are these people that are doing this business? Why aren't they excited enough to take these courses? Because if you dismiss that this isn't important, I'm too busy because I'm doing real estate, well, I've got to tell you, the more you learn, the more you earn. The more your skill set and your knowledge, we're learning from each other. You know, it's a collaborative effort among all the agents and brokers. And I've got to say, if you're open to work with someone or to help another agent or broker, it just adds to your karma. You're able to do more, and you're able to draw more business towards you. Your agent, your fellow realtors are the key to your success as well. So yes, we're all competitive, but we're friendly competition. My success in my business has been the deals that I do are as a result of working with the different agents. I'm currently working with Drew right now. I'm with Paradise Realty. I'm working with a lot of you guys. I'm working with Jeremy. I just rented his one of his properties. And all of you also rent my properties. And guess what? I want you to rent and sell whatever I have listed. Now, if we have a good relationship, what happens? It just makes the deal sweeter. I'm working with Nadia, and I'm working with many of you out there. But you know what? I welcome, and if you ever needed information or help, I'm open to helping and assisting, because it helps you, it helps me, it helps our collaborative effort of success. It's part of giving back. So skills, knowledge, please keep learning, because again, the more you learn, the more you earn. And stay engaged. Do I continue to improve my skills by it's just exactly what I said, by learning and attending classes. And what tools do I use? And am I staying up to date? You know, technology, sorry about the issue with the computer, but I'm not techie, I'm trying to learn, and I thought I got it down bad, but somehow the screen didn't pop up while I was talking. But I took the time to make this something that has impact, and that you walk away from this course saying, okay, you learned something new, you learn a new tool that you could use to better serve your customers and your clients and your fellow realtors. Motivation. Why did you guys choose real estate? Many of you were clients maybe before for other realtors, and then you decide to do real estate. Why? Well, I can say for myself, I was running different businesses. I was happy with where I was. And when someone came to me, I said, no real estate. I viewed real estate agents as car salespeople. So I kind of like, nah, I don't want to do that. I remember Anthony asking me that at one time, and I said no. And then another person got me into it. And I love what I do. I enjoy it. There's no lines drawn between real estate and my personal life. And I'm going to end up doing this till I kick the bucket, because it's fun and I'm helping people. And the best deal that I do is when both parties walk away happy and they fulfilled their goal to liquidate or to purchase. And it's just a good feeling of giving and making things happen. Sometimes you have to get creative. So what does real estate offer me? Well, for me, working with all of you has been wonderful. And if I've hurt or slighted any of you in any way, or didn't provide whatever you needed, I apologize. I always try to do my best. And real estate has offered me opportunities. Running, for some of you, maybe you think it's about the money and you join because real estate is hard work. And when I started real estate, I ran other businesses. What I found when I was doing the other businesses, we were pouring money, and money would go in. When money came back out, we had to plug it into inventory. So it was a constant cycle of in, out, but back in again. With real estate, you put money in, time, effort, money flowed out. And as a result of real estate, our real estate portfolio has increased, our investment has received, but money that came out, we're able to use for investments. So for you who have just started in real estate, stick to it. Don't do it part-time. You've got to do it full-time, because when you do it more for 100% of your time, you're going to get a better return on your investment. If you only put 20%, you're really going to get 5% return. You're not going to get that much. So again, if you're in the real estate business because you saw a lot of people making money, you're going to find, yes, it's hard work, but it's much more fun if you're enjoying it. Do you enjoy it? I can say, hell yeah, I do. So what are my needs? Is the real estate business fulfilling my needs? And what am I passionate about? I'm passionate about real estate. I really love the work. Sometimes we have to get creative to make transactions happen. And it's just a question of, stepping outside of yourself, stepping outside of the deal. We tell our agents, when you're doing real estate, you have to listen to your client or your customer. What did they want? Sometimes we inject ourselves in the transaction when you should stay out of it. Listen to what they need in order to make it happen. Because sometimes our own opinions get in the way of the transaction, that it can't flow smooth. Sometimes I remember way back, you get an offer, and in the offer, there's like 15, 20 items. And I know it didn't come from the customer. It came from the agent, because they injected themselves to put so many things in there that were not necessary. Do I cooperate well with other realtors? Guys, the other realtors are the key to your success. If you get to know your fellow agents. Again, when you talk customer service, this workshop or this training is about customer service, but it's not just for your client and your customers, it's for your other realtors as well. Again, many of my transactions have gone much smoother because we're nice to each other, we're respectful of each other, we make things happen. I mean, if it means I'm going to do something, I've done this before where an agent is leaving island and it's either the selling or the listing. I would say, don't worry, if I can help by just handling the transaction, the paperwork, follow-ups, whatever is needed, I do it. Some of the agents in our office will do the same. That way you don't have to get, someone else to handle it while you're away, and you don't have to split that commission. I do that as a service because then it makes it easier for them. It'd be nice if somebody else would offer that for me as well. But again, cooperate well with other realtors. That's service. That's real estate service. And the biggest key to your success, because they could be holding that $1 million deal in their hand and you have an offer and you piss them off, 2 deals away, or you had a dispute over your commissions or something. It'll come back to haunt you, as it has some people. So please cooperate well, play well. So what is real estate service? You're working with clients, customers, but again, as I keep reiterating, it's not just them. There's so many people you work with in relationship to the relationship you're building with them. So where does a customer service begin? Of course, it begins with all points of contact. It's on the phone, verbal and written, appointments, in person or virtual. Now, a lot of our appointments could be virtual. So verbal and written. Sometimes we're working, going back to the written, sometimes we're working with people and they send you a nasty email. I would start typing my response, ready to respond and go at it. But then I hold, I save, put it on save, and then I let that filter through. Because in sending a message, responding in a negative way, or could be perceived negatively, that it may cut off that transaction or that relationship. But by saving it, it gives me time to calm down and gives me time to get a different perspective. And sometimes I'll rewrite it, cut off the other stuff, and do a better response. So again, that's developing your relationship, keeping the relationship rather than, cutting them off. So of course, open houses, we aren't doing open houses anymore until things, I heard that they're close to a vaccine for COVID. So who knows? Hopefully they hurry up so we can all get back to regular business. So customer expectations of service. When people call a real estate agent, what are their expectations? Of course, they want professional service. They want you to have the expertise and the knowledge to guide them. They want effortless experience, and they want you to do follow-up, timely follow-ups, get back to them. Sometimes the property they want isn't available, but then you got to get back to them. Hey, something cropped up. They will remember you, and give them, you know, timely updates. So what image do you portray? Here's a group of us. We went to a training in Texas for RPAC. What image are you projecting? What do you want to project? Do you want to project a professional image, or a casual image? It has to do with how you present yourself, attire. If you go to a showing with t-shirts and dories, what image does that project? Does that project professionalism? I don't think so. And I know at one workshop they talked about, well, the client is dressed in Zoris and casual, therefore I should dress in Zoris and be casual, but not necessarily so. They're expecting someone who projects an image that knows what they're doing and is professional. So going to a showing with your Zoris and your t-shirt, I don't think in my mind that represents professionalism. Do you go to your appointments all the time? I mean, if you set up your appointment for 9 o'clock and you show up at 9:30, you're gone. You know, they're gonna, and then when we get into the personality thing, hopefully I hurry up and have more time to get into that, or touch on it. You have to show up on time. If you're dealing with a CEO of a company and you don't show up, you're done. They've moved on. Your vehicle, making sure that, of course, this is when we took people in our vehicles, that your vehicle is clean. It doesn't matter what you drive, as long as it's clean and presentable when you take them around. But again, we're not taking people in our vehicles at this time. So best practices, listen to your client and your customer, and even the fellow realtor. If they call you and they need something, act within a timely fashion. Listen to what they want, because sometimes a client will come and the customer will say, hey, I went to another office, but that person didn't listen and were showing me different properties. You have to show them, listen for what they want. Sometimes they don't know what they want. So I would sit with them and say, hey, you want to see condos? Okay, I'm going to show you a condo. And then later, depending on the personality type, they shift and go, oh, I want this. Oh, let's go see that. So then I would redirect and say, hey, stop. You said you wanted condos. So therefore, if you change and you shift and you want to see something else, not a problem. I'd be happy to do that. But I'm here to assist you to find the right property, and I can do that and focus on the right direction. Because if you're going this way, this way, this way, forget it. And again, there's a personality type for that. You need to know when to wheel them in, okay? Your application of your real estate knowledge is how using it, of course, in explaining certain things. Now, we don't always have all the answers. You know, some of us have been in the business for a long time. I look up to Chris. He's been in the business for over 30 years. If I have an issue or a problem, I'd probably say, hey, Chris, have you ever experienced this? Because bear in mind, in real estate, every day is different. I mean, there are things after I've been in it for 24 years that there's always something weird that crops up that has never cropped up before. So I would ask Gina, she's in the business for so long as well, hey, did you ever experience this? Or Chris, have you experienced this? The network of agents around you and brokers are there to help. So if you experience anything strange or that you know, hey, call us, we're willing to help. And then if we say, hey, never heard of that, then I'd call somebody else to ask them the question. Your use of your tools, your MLS, your market analysis, aerial maps, all your materials that you use are critical in our line of work. Even working with government agencies, we've got to contact them to get information. We're constantly doing this. And again, that is still customer service, no matter how you look at it, and real estate. Brokers, appraisers, sometimes I'd have issues where I have a question, so I would call an appraiser, hey, how would you look at this? How do you normally handle this particular case? Even with surveyors, I'm not the expert. Using the resources to get feedback so that I can assist our clients and customers. Are you organized? Are you organized when you go out? Did you do your research? Did you do your preview? Again, this is part of customer service. You have to provide the information and make sure that it's as accurate as possible, of course. And then if something isn't clear, then you want to ask some questions. Ask questions, provide guidance and expertise. Always ask your client, customer, or even your fellow realtor, what do they need? How can you help them? Ask them specific questions to get clarity. Because if it's not clear, you're not going to get anywhere. And if you don't ask the right questions, how can you get to point B without asking for directions? This other thing was about stay focused. You need to stay focused to get the job done. Service. Your client, customer, or realtor has the real estate need, so they'll ask you for the questions. You, as a broker agent, you provide a service to assist in the process. Focus on the service, not the sale. We tell our agents this. If you're focusing on the sale, you're a regular salesperson, but if you're providing a service, it makes a big difference. So what I think in any team, and if you look out to the realtor community, you want to see what traits do different agents and brokers have. Why are they successful? What tools are they using to make them successful? How can I apply that to make my skills better? How do I sharpen my skills so I do a better job in service by using this whole network of resource? Sometimes our agents, we would tell them, you might not know the answer to a particular question or have 20 years in your bag of experience, but always ask the question, how would Chris Felix handle this? Put on the Chris Felix hat. How would Chris handle it? How would so-and-so handle it? How would they react? How would they handle? Or even give them a call. Hey, how would you deal with this? We have a network. And again, always focus on the service in helping the other party, whoever is in front of you, and not the sale, because you can always chase the money, but it'll always be elusive. It doesn't satisfy the end. Your grade in real estate will be the referrals. So if you're getting referral business, then you know you've done a good job because these people will refer them to you. If you're not getting referrals, then you haven't done a good job. So that would give you your A, your B, or your C. If you're not getting referrals, you're obviously getting an F. Remember, you're not perfect and you may not have all the answers. I'm not perfect, but I sure know who to call and where to get information if I need it. Again, this has been a journey. Each and every one of us have our own personal journey, and it's a pleasant journey when everyone else is going through it. You're not the only one, but you know you have a network of people you can talk to. Learn from your mistakes. We continue to learn. And the best way sometimes is through mistakes or misadventure. You just have to keep plugging. You can't stop. You got to keep going. And remember, life is so short. Condolences to Mo's family. You know, Mo had a wonderful journey, and he was one of the forerunners, and we've learned from him and many others before him. When I think of Mo, I remembered Ed Cochran, because I'll never forget, we all got together, and I think we were together at Jeff's Pirates Cove, and May was there. I mean, of course, this goes back to the old days, and Ed Cochran was always there, getting things together, and it was just a warm memory of. And Ed has passed, of course, but Mo was one of the, again, forefathers way back when. Get more customers, make contacts, provide the service. It comes back to you. So if you're all on the journey to success, you have to keep learning, train, give back, practice what you're learning. Don't just keep taking these courses and not utilize them. Again, you've got a network of people, but you're on a journey to success. You have to climb those stairs to get there. And sometimes the stairs are steep. Keep going, don't stop. We want to grow and we want to succeed, and we each have our own individual business. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And that's Winston Churchill. So courage in our line of work, courage is critical. Just keep plugging, keep going. So this was just a sample of personal mission and vision. You each should have something to see, because if you can see what your goal is, but again, remember what we talked about. What is your belief? If your belief is you'll never make it, this is not going to make a difference to you. And then personal strategy and growth and development. I'm always about personal development. We went to this leadership course in 1992, and it definitely has made a difference that I'm continuing to hunger for knowledge and to always improve myself. I'm not perfect, but I try to do the best. I'm human, we make mistakes, but can't stop. Life is short. I might kick the bucket tomorrow, but at least I've lived to my fullest. And again, we got to keep going. We can't stop. So I want to show, these are our fellow realtors that we work with. This is at ANAR convention. And you can see Saran, Rena Borja, there's Peggy, Ellen, Jerry, there's Ryan, Lolita, Chris, Rose, Bobby, Claire, Deanna, and of course, Kenny Parcell, who has visited us on Guam. Again, I want to emphasize your customer service network is all around you. You exercise it every day, and just be vigilant of your actions. So personality compass, we're almost at the end. How can I effectively work with people I come in contact with? How? If you know what personality type they fall under, it would help. What will I learn about the 4 quadrants to make a difference? Will this help me understand people better and how they think? Hell yeah. I don't understand myself, much less others, but if you understood your personality type, you'll know how it triggers others. And will this make a difference? Of course, everything makes a difference. Okay, so Peggy, questions before I go. I think we're almost out, and I'll have to make this quick. Does this end at 11:30, Peg?
It does, but we can, if you or the attendees won't mind a few more minutes because of the we had a little technical difficulties earlier. We can go through the questions.
Okay, let's go through the questions. Babe, how do
Okay.
you have, oh,
Oh, we
that's,
got this one. We got this one done. Will you be able to share your screen, Liz, with the rest of the members?
okay, which one?
The one that you showed earlier. Are you able to share that and perhaps have us upload it in our website?
Have the slides? Oh, yeah. Hey, it
Okay.
was to help all of us. So I'd be so happy to share this. And believe me, I want to share that I picked this class to teach this because I felt like the key is in each and every one of us. And I wanted to find a way to touch each of you inside to see that it's up to you and the courage and the diligence to make that difference in terms of relationships with clients, customers, all of us as realtors. So yeah, I I hope this makes somewhat of a difference, whether you tap something within that will help improve and it shows up outside, and that you become a magnet to draw people, relationships towards you versus repelling them. So our business is all about relationship, although COVID, we're not able to do that, but it never ends. We're humans and we thrive on relationship building. At least most of us do. Some may not, but
Okay, I have
yes.
another question, Liz. What are ways an agent can build their confidence to know you are the right agent for your client? What are ways to make your first time client comfortable with you as an agent?
Here, when I was in Thailand, we had a workshop. It was NLP, I think. We had this guy. He was really cool. And he did a little workshop with us. And I do this in my classes when I teach as well. It's like to build your confidence, we all have what it takes. So stand up and you stand up and you say, all, maybe you can all say it out loud. All I need is within me, and just pound your chest. All I need is within me. I am confident I can do this. Yeah. So I do this in my classes so that he says when he does this, it just builds energy from within of confidence. And he visualizes that, hey, I'm going to walk away getting that client. So again, he goes out to the corner somewhere, doesn't care who sees him. All I need, and he raises his hand, all I need is within me. I am confident I can do this. Yeah. So it just builds energy. Now, again, with the personality profile, it just depends who you're coming in contact with. So, any other questions before we do go into the personality compass?
All right, so it said here, can you emphasize the importance of asking new clients if they're working with another agent at the very start of the conversation? Because,
Yes,
yeah, oh,
yes.
because I just spoke with a client yesterday and she said I'm her fifth realtor and she's working with all of us. When I ask, have any other realtor ask her this, she said no. And the reasoning is because she assumed we all compete with one another and we only present our own listings.
No, what I would do is let that person know that, hey, yes, we all compete, but we're all showing the same property. And it's best that they pick, I would say, pick one of the agents and work with them because we're all good agents. And it's a question of who are you most comfortable with, and because we're all showing the same properties. Yeah, sometimes there's a misconception out there with customers where they think if they go to the listing agent they get a better deal. No, that's not necessarily the case. The deals are made in the terms and conditions of the offer and the guidance that the agent gives them. So I would just say, hey, pick one. Or I would say, well, you're working with five of them. Would you prefer to work with me? Because I could show you all those properties. The only thing I would caution is don't go back and show the properties other agents have shown. Because I tell customers that if you already walked into the property with this particular agent, then I can't help you. So you may, on the front end, educate them with the proper protocols. I would say, do you mind if I just give you this information, and how you deal with it is totally up to you.
Okay. One more question here is, what are the north, south, east, west homework and results?
Okay, so the question for all of you is, did you tally it up? And then I can go over it. So I hope you all filled out the form and looked at your dominant score, or sometimes there are two scores that could be equal. So I guess, can people respond? Hopefully you all added it up. If not, here, I want to get some feedback. Let's see. Have you added it up? And if you did, what was your dominant score? So I can address that. I could go over that. What was your dominant score? Feedback, please.
So your instruction would be for them to add it up, Liz. If everybody has their
Don't overthink it. Go through, there's 2 pages, to go through the page and just circle, and then add up your scores, add it up at the bottom. And yeah, add it up at the bottom, and then I can go over it.
How many minutes do you want to give them, Liz?
Let's give them 5 minutes if people want to, because really, this is important. I think this section is really important, because when you're working with a particular customer or client, you want to know which category they fall under, because then that would help you be more effective with working with them. And the same thing applies with your fellow workers in your office or fellow agents. And then you're going to have aha moments.
All right, let's take a few minutes, and then someone can hopefully be able to share their answers. Okay, we have a few. A10, B14, C9, D15. How do you analyze that, Liz?
Okay, is that one person?
Just coming from one person.
Okay, so what was the highest score?
The highest score is B14. Bingo.
Okay, so if they're B, they're south.
South, okay.
Okay, so if you're south, what was so B14, and what was the highest number below that?
Below that, the highest number below it?
Yeah.
Oh, I apologize. This one says D15. D15 is the highest number.
Okay. So if it's D, let me see.
There's a question here. If you're able to put up the to calculate it, what their dominant score is.
Yeah, if they, okay, so your dominant score, you're either A, B, or C, or D. So if you're A, you're north. If you're B, you're south. If you're C, you're east. And if you're D, you're west. Let me just pull, hold on a second. So I can just go into the personality traits. So they can work on that, but so North, how many, if you've worked with the North, so there are four quadrants, and some of you may have seen the controller, but North is kind of the controller. South is the helpers, the social workers. The West is the, let me see here. The East is the structured. They're the East are the analytical, and the West, let me see. I'm sorry, I've got the wrong chart here. So the North, okay, let me go back to the North. The North is about getting the job done. They're pretty much the controllers. The East, normally it's like do it right the first time or get out of my way. The South is about building their team. These are the helpers. And then the West is expand horizons. Now, the similarities of the North and the East is they both work hard. So this is the controllers and the analytical. So for example, your CEO is North, more than likely because they take charge, they take command. So if you're working with someone like that, they want stuff right away. So if you get a call from someone like that who wants information, then you better respond quickly or you're gone. They're not gonna want to deal with you. Now, when you're dealing with the East, the what is it? The analytical, they want data. So you might have come across individuals that are taking their time in giving you an answer. Do I want to buy this property? They're taking their time. It's because they're analyzing. And you can tell that when they process, they're not emotional. They don't show that emotion. So if they're analytical, they expect more data. So if you give them enough data to analyze, or you've done your analysis and you've given it to them, and then they review it, then they can make their decision easily because they've done their analysis and they can make their decision. If you're working with the homebodies, the helpers, they have expectations as far as hi, how are you doing? They want to know, do you care about them? They want to know, can they trust you? Are you concerned about them? Because they're not just buying a house, they're buying a home. And if you're not asking them how are they doing, then they can't really trust you. So therefore, they may not want to work with you because it's all about trust. It's all about, these are the people that rally together. They form a committee. You know, they're people who think differently. They want to make sure they take care of each other. They're always concerned about people. And they're concerned about, these are people that you want on your team. Now, on the other side, the West, these are the promoters. These are the party people. These love planning parties. But my concern with people who are on this quadrant, when I'm taking them around, they want to see condos. Then all of a sudden, oh, I want to see that, or I want to see that house. So you have to wheel them in to say, okay, not a problem. I'd love to show you those houses, but did we change our goal? Did you decide you didn't want a condo? So then I could readjust and pull properties within that category. So again, you know, you're going to have to gauge on how they process, and then see which quadrant they're under. So the North, they want to get the job done. They make quick decisions, and something they're very directive. So if you're working with one of these people, they want things done fast, and sometimes they affect others in the other quadrants where they're bossy. I don't like them. Um, you know, they're not heartwarming people. Again, that's an impression of the quadrants looking at this particular quadrant. They bark orders. They want things done quick. They don't have that heart that the other parties have. So their basic weakness is they're impatient. They want things done like this. Their fundamental aptitude is their leadership. And they're goal oriented. They want to get the job done. Let's go in this direction and don't deviate. They're very competitive. That's their motivation. Their pet peeve, indecision. They don't like people who don't want to make a decision quickly. They like to work independently. Their main competencies, they love to supervise others, and sometimes that irritates people. And they want to move fast, and they're very determined. And the image they want to portray is they're achievers. They want to be recognized for achieving. Now, if we go to the East, they want to do it right the first time. These are the analyticals. Their strength is they plan in detail. They've got to get the details done. And if you give them something, they'll really scrutinize it. They have a tunnel vision, and they're looking for facts. They want the facts in order for them to make their decision. They're also looking for your errors. Their pet peeve is inaccuracy. They want everything to be accurate, and they're pretty serious. Their facial expressions. So if you're looking at them and you can't see a smile or two because they're too focused and they're serious, and these are mostly, they're concerned about organization. They're slow and very cautious until you give them all the details to make their decision. And they're concerned about the quality of their work. So on the helpers or the social workers, which we refer to them as the South, they build the same team. They love to cooperate. They're non-assertive. So when you work with one of these people and you're barking orders and you're really offending them, they don't want to work with you. They don't want to deal with you. They'd rather go the other direction. So you got to be careful when you're working with this, but this quadrant by, hi, how are you doing? How are your children? How are things going? They're non-assertive. They're very peacemaking people. Values make a difference for them. They love to help. They always know how to help other people versus helping themselves sometimes. They run away from conflict. So if you're a controller or in the North Quadrant and you're barking orders, they'd rather go the other direction because they don't want any conflict. And they love working with groups. They love to build the team and to help. They're slow and laid back. And they have a lot of compassion. So I'm sure you know some of these people. Now, I'm going to the last one. We each have a tendency to move around in the different quadrants. And sometimes we have a tendency to shift. It just depends on who we're with and the environment. So the West, which are the promoters, they expand these are the creative people. They expand all horizons. They're innovative, they're creative, but disorganized. You'd have to wheel them in to get them to focus. They normally see the bigger picture, especially when they're setting up things. They like to work outside the box. They love the freedom. They're motivated by their freedom. They don't like rules. They don't want to stick to certain rules. They always want to break the rules. But they're adaptable. They can shift around to make things happen. They like juggling, so many balls in the air. They're pretty fast, pretty flexible. So if these people, when they're driving down Marine Drive and the traffic starts to slow down, they'll find ways to keep going in and out, to keep going. They don't want to stay still. And they want to be original. Again, they love to do this. So if you're working with the 4 quadrants, again, is recognizing who fits in this quadrant. Now, in a team, you need all four quadrants because you need the teamwork, you need someone to guide the group. And we've seen this in group dynamics when we've done our leadership workshop where we're out in the field and then we just stand back and observe. There's a task before them, and then a leader arises to say, hey, we got to do this. It's a question of, do they all conform to help, or do they, and what we find, okay, this is very important. What we find when you're doing something like that, and we're the observer, we're finding that the group, that if you have a leader and he's arisen and they follow and they support and everybody does their part, the success in that particular event goes, and the timing, and it goes fast. But when we see that others are on the periphery, standing, looking, not really engaged, then they fail. And it's so obvious that the failure had to do because they were not cohesive as a group and they didn't participate to bring about the success that was needed in that particular exercise. So each of you can, do your tallies, just find out where you fall under, and you can look to see when you get the presentation, I think it has a compass to see where do others fall in your team, in your office, in your family even. We each have different family members that fall under the different quadrants. But I think the thing you want to use this for is when you're dealing with a particular client or customer or fellow realtor, not to take offense if they're pretty bossy or saying, hey, I need this and boom, 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 I need it, blah, blah, blah. Then you say, oh, what quadrant did they fall under? I can understand. So any questions? I hope that this workshop made a difference for each and every one of you. We're all on a journey, and we're here to help each other and make a difference so that we all win and we all succeed. Always win-win. Peggy?
Thank you, Liz. Appreciate it. Others were just sharing their calculation. And for those that wanted to have the PowerPoint presentation, we will go ahead and share that and upload it in our website, as all with the others that will be sharing theirs as well, and including the recordings. And they were asking if the quadrant is part of the PowerPoint presentation so they can calculate it themselves.
Hold on, let me see. Yeah, you see this? It's the personality compass. It just gives you the general stuff. And if you want more, just give me a yell.
Okay. Thank you very much, Liz. Thank you all for those that attended today. I thought this was a very eye-opener type of class that relates to each and everyone's business, because you're right, it all starts with you on how to handle your business and how you can make yourself even more successful than you already are. So thank you, Liz. I appreciate that very much. Any last words for the members?
No, help your fellow agents, reach out, ask questions, give back. And please stay engaged. I'm noticing again that when we first started, not too many people would sign up or get engaged with what's going on with the Guam Association of Realtors. They provide a lot of information. Sometimes emails are not read. Again, it's information. You want to absorb what you can and participate, stay engaged, get involved in some of the committees. I used to hear this comment like, it's the same old people, same old people. No, we've got young youth, with the young generation now of realtors that are involved, the YPN, and their committee has really went out to feed. They would collect monies and do fundraisers and food drive to go feed the hungry during this period. We're about giving back. We each have to give back to some degree, and not just for the giving, but in doing such, there's a receiving that you get, a satisfaction, and it's karmic. You give, you get back. It's a cycle. It's a cycle of life. You keep giving, and you make a difference. And I've got to say, I took this leadership seminar last week, and no matter what workshop I go to, they always emphasize the same thing: give, give, give. Your cup overflows, and the excess you got to give back somehow, because in giving, you're receiving.
Excellent. Thank you, Liz. In a chaotic world that we live in, a little kindness goes a long way. It helps each and everybody. So thank you for that. I appreciate it very much. And for the rest, thank you all for sticking around. Um, and Please support the GRYPN for their beach cleanup tomorrow. We will be sending out the flyer again to share with you. It's going to be at Isagana. Location for meetup is at Coffee Slut in Isagana, and the cleanup will go all the way to Lupang Beach Towers. So show up during that time, 7 a.m. show time, and it lasts until about 10 a.m. So just a few minutes of your time tomorrow would be wonderful. Thank you again. And let's support the remaining CE classes for the remainder of our Realtor month. Have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend to you all.
Bye.
Thank you, Liz.
You're welcome.